All right, welcome everyone. I am recording, just want to make note of that. My name is Shelby Eisenbach. I am a coordinator here at the University of Louisville's Kent School of Social Work and Family Science for our Bachelor of Social Work program. So thank you all so much for attending our information session today. I will note I will have our chat up, so if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to type a question in the chat box. I will be monitoring that, and then I will also have a time at the end to answer any questions if you want to turn on your microphone as well. So, but before we get started, I just want to make sure everyone's microphones are muted, and we will dive right in. So I first want to start off with discussing what is social work. A lot of people have a lot of definitions and descriptions of social work when they think of this career and this subject matter. So social work is the profession that promotes or restores the relationships between people and their environment in order to improve the quality of life for individuals, families, communities, or organizations. So what that means to you as a future social worker is that you have a lot of different career paths and opportunities. I've highlighted here on this slide a few different opportunities that you can do with a social work degree. Now, I will note a few of these will require a Master's of Science in Social Work and MSSW, which we will discuss further along this presentation today, and about a unique opportunity that you would have as a BSW student to earn your MSSW. But this just highlights a few of these may resonate with you. A few of those may be, oh my gosh, that's my dream job. That is exactly what I'm doing currently. Or maybe that's an area I want to get my foot in the door. So the options truly are limitless when it comes to social work and the need for social workers. So is social work for you? A few questions that you could ask yourself are the following. Are you good at maneuvering through complex situations? As a social worker, you will be handling complex situations on a daily basis. Do you have a passion for helping vulnerable and marginalized individuals, families, and communities? We have that micro, macro, and even meso level of working with social workers, so that individual, family, or community. So it can be that one-on-one, or we could be looking at helping an entire city, town, community. Do you have a passion for advocacy and promoting social justice? Throughout your time in the program, these are social justice as well as advocacy are going to be two subject matters that you will be diving deeper into throughout curriculum, and you'll even be taking a specific course that ties around social justice during your time in the program. So these are just a few different questions to ask yourself to see if social work is a right fit for you. So diving a little deeper into our team, specifically on the student services side. So this is our Bachelor of Social Work team. We are small but mighty. We are in a very unique position that we are not advising for any other major or department across campus. We only work with our Bachelor of Social Work students. So myself there on the left, I more oversee admissions, recruitment. I will work with every single one of you all that are new to our program. I do all of our initial onboarding advising appointments. Anna O'Connell is our other coordinator. She is more on the academic side, so she's our lead academic advisor. That is who you will most likely be working with throughout your time through advising in our program. Sarah Springer is our fearless leader, our BSW program manager. You will probably work with her at some point as well. And then Miss Jennifer Stratton at the end there is our administrative assistant. You will probably also be working with her during your time, specifically applying for the upper division program, as well as any notifications or information that we send out through our service account will come from her a lot as well. So this is our team, small but mighty, and we're all here to help if you have any questions throughout your time in the application process or once you are a current student. So diving a little deeper into our faculty, I'm not going to highlight every single thing I've typed out here, but I did really want to just preface and emphasize that our faculty are phenomenal. They are doing research, they have experience all across different fields, as I have listed out below each one of their pictures. My biggest, and you'll hear this in our initial onboarding appointment, my biggest piece of advice that I give all incoming students is to get to know your faculty. Especially for my online students, I understand it's a little more challenging to make those connections. You're not receiving that weekly face-to-face interaction. So utilize their virtual office hours, utilize any optional kind of meet and greet opportunities that they may host or offer virtually. They are a wealth of knowledge and definitely someone you want in your corner. And you never know where some of those conversations could lead to. So I did want to highlight Dr. Armand Perry. He is our BSW program director. So some of you all that are going to be on campus, you may see him in our Social Work 201, which is our Intro to Social Work class. But you will hear from him throughout your time in the program, also during our upper division orientation. So just to highlight a few facts here about the program, and we'll dive a little deeper into all of these. To successfully graduate with your Bachelor of Social Work, we require students complete a minimum 120 credit hours. Of those 120, they do have to be the correct courses, which we will look at here shortly. Students do have to maintain a minimum 2.5 GPA, and that is just to stay in good standing for the program, but that's also a part of graduation requirements. Our BSW program is offered both online as well as on campus. So we have a lot of non-traditional students. We have students that are working full-time, maybe have children, they're caregivers, have a lot of things going on outside the classroom. So the flexibility for our program is a huge benefit for the vast majority of our students. And we also, with that said, have a full-time as well as a part-time route. So depending on how many hours you're able to take throughout the school year, whether that be in the summer or fall or spring semester or the winter terms, we definitely have a schedule that will fit you. And then we do have a lower division and upper division portion of our program. So what that means is we do require a secondary application to proceed with the last 60 hours of the program, which we label our upper division. And we'll dive a little deeper into that as well. So looking a little more extensively into our program requirements, this slide and the next slide will make up your first 60 credit hours of the program. So these are the courses we will focus on first. This is our lower division. So part of that will be your cardinal core. So these are those general education requirements, courses that are required for every single student at the University of Louisville. Does not matter what major or program that you are in, everyone will have to complete these. So you're looking at 2 separate written communications courses, so those English classes, an oral communications course, a mathematics course, 2 art/humanities courses, 2 natural science courses. One of them will have to be with a lab. A social and behavioral science course. One of them will need to be a historical perspective, but you will be taking quite a few social and behavioral courses throughout your time in the lower division. And then you will also be meeting your global diversity and US diversity course requirements. These are typically integrated with some of these general education courses. So for instance, most history classes I recommend for students to take will also have that global diversity course requirement. So one course will kind of check 2 of those boxes. So the second half of our lower division will be supporting requirements. Specifically, these are courses that are for social work majors. So you're looking at our Social Work 101 orientation class. Now, if you have completed some sort of similar course to this, more of like a first year, freshman year course, depending on how that comes over, you may have met that. Also, if you're coming in with over 24 transfer credits, you have maybe not taken that, you will be exempt. But we also have our human biology, which is a social work 203 course, statistics, which is social work 204, introduction to psychology, which is psych 201, Introduction to Sociology, which is Sociology 201, a handful of general electives, and then we also have our Introduction to Social Work. So this slide and the previous slide make up the first 60 hours, and these will be the first kind of group of courses that we will focus on having you complete before you move on to our upper division. So the upper division course requirements are highlighted here. We have general practice courses, human behavior and social environment courses. You'll hear us a lot of time abbreviate that as HIPSE, social welfare institutions, policies and services course, issues and policy and service delivery course, your intro to social work research. This is the course I mentioned earlier, the diversity, oppression, and social justice course, and then a handful of social work electives. And then my favorite part, and my personal favorite, is the practicum and practicum seminar and lab. So as a part of your upper division curriculum, every student will be required to complete a practicum your last 2 semesters in the program, so your senior year. This is when you will be placed out into a local social work agency, and you will be working there roughly about 16 hours a week. So this is a great time for you to apply everything you've been learning inside the classroom up until this point, and even throughout the classes you're also taking during the practicum, and get some real world hands-on experience. It's a great way for you to network. It's a wonderful way for you to, hopefully get some great references, letters of recommendation. We even have seen on numerous occasions some of these practicum opportunities have rolled over into job opportunities, but a lot more to come about this once you are in our upper division. We have an entire separate dedicated team of staff members that oversee the practicum placements. They are called our field education office. You will work closely with their team to establish next steps, expectations, but it does not ever hurt to start thinking about maybe where you want to complete the practicum. I always say that the goal is not to just throw you into a random social work agency. We want you to have some sort of desire to be there. So hopefully it will align with your career goals. And the other thing I did want to mention as well, before I forget, is when this practicum is complete. So I will review this again during your initial onboarding advising appointment, but highlighted there on that second bullet point, how it states Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. So most practicums that we do place our students into, we see that they complete those hours during what we consider normal business hours. So Monday through Friday, 8 or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We do not see that students are completing those during more of those evening and weekends. Not that I haven't seen it happen before, but those are very rare and not guaranteed. And the reason behind that is at your practicum site, you will have a supervisor. So that supervisor will have to have earned at least their master's degree. And typically people in those positions aren't working as many evening or weekend hours. So with that said, just keep that in mind. For time management purposes, we understand 16 hours is a lot. It's a part-time job. So I just want to always throw that out there, even though it may seem like a long way away. Just always want to make sure, especially for my students that are working or have children or have a lot of other obligations, that they are aware of that time commitment their last 2 semesters. So a lot more to come about this once you're in the upper division, but this is one of my personal favorite parts about our program. So diving a little bit deeper into the application process itself. So every student will first need to complete their lower division application, which is just a general application to the University of Louisville's Office of Undergraduate Admissions. So no matter what, first and foremost, every student has to just apply to U of L. So if I have any high school students that have joined me, you will see your specific admissions requirement listed. It looks a little different if you are submitting a standardized test score versus not submitting a test score. But one thing that you'll see kind of across the board is that continuous 2.5 GPA. So we want to see from our high school students, you at least have a 2.5 GPA or higher. But the biggest thing in regards to those ACT or SAT scores is that if you're applying for any scholarships, you will have to have those on file. And then for any of my transfer students, same thing again, we want to see that 2.5 GPA or higher. And I will say if you are submitting multiple transcripts, so if you've earned credit at different institutions, the transfer admissions office will be looking at the cumulative GPA. So we're not looking at your most recent or the highest or the lowest. They are combining all of your credits and GPA and getting that cumulative number there. So one question I do receive a lot of the times is that what if I don't have that 2.5 GPA? What if it's lower than that? So typically what will happen is depending on where it's at, if it's slightly lower than that, maybe around a 2.0, most students, I will always advise to first speak with the admissions office as they make that decision. But most of our students, what would happen if they're not quite there, they would be admitted to U of L, but under what we call pre-social work. So you were actually going to be housed and advised out of a different unit. So it's out of our College of Arts and Sciences. So once you have one semester here at U of L and you've earned that 2.5 GPA or higher, then you can come over to us at the Kent School. But did just want to throw that out there. It may not apply to anyone on here today, but I do get that question quite often. So one thing to note that's at the very bottom of this slide is that admissions into our lower division does not guarantee admissions into the upper division. So I mentioned earlier, we have that secondary application process for the upper division, which you would be applying for spring semester of your sophomore year, so about halfway through. And it looks like I do have a question. Let me take a peek at that real quick. Let's see, Kelly, what about veterans using the GI Bill? Is that just in regards to financial aspect? To make sure I clarify. And our program manager's on here too with me, so if I can't answer that. I will say we do have an entire dedicated team of our Office of Military and Veteran Student Services. So if it's anything very specific with using benefits, anything kind of under that umbrella, I will always make sure you have their contact information, and I will usually direct you to their team so they can make sure to answer your questions correctly. But we do have like I said, a dedicated team of staff that works specifically with our military and veteran students. And I can also give you their contact info as well if I cannot answer your question. Okay. And I see you're typing. I'll keep my eye on that. Okay, so admissions. Yes, Kelly, I will send you their info. Do not let me forget. I'll make note real quick. Okay, so admissions into the upper division. So one thing I will note with this is that you have to first be admitted to the University of Louisville. So that is just your general application to the admissions office. Once you're admitted to U of L, you will meet with me. We will have our initial one-on-one advising appointment. I usually dedicate at least an hour to ensure that we have time to review everything, including next steps. So that is usually when we will establish when you're applying for the upper division. One of the things we look for is that you have completed a majority of those lower division classes, so those first 60 credit hours. With that said, the upper division application will kind of take place while you're finishing those lower division courses. So more than likely spring semester around your sophomore year. So with this, I have highlighted pretty much the main areas that you'll see for the application. So the cumulative GPA, once again, will need to be a 2.5 or higher. You will submit a personal statement, a resume, so more or less work and or volunteer experience. And then we do require 2 letters of recommendation. So one of them has to be from a instructor, so professor that's had you in class. And then another one needs to be from a supervisor. Oh, thank you, Sarah, for putting that in there. So for the supervisor, that can be through a volunteer and or work experience, whatever you prefer. We do not have a preference. But we go over this extensively during our initial appointment, but it is all online on our website as well. So I can also put the link in there if you'd like to just take a peek at it. But I always say hold off on applying for the upper division until we meet to establish when you are applying. So the most important thing to note about the upper division is we only have fall semester starts. The courses in the upper division that we kind of looked at a second ago are only offered once a year. So I think of them as like stepping stones. They have to be taken, they're sequential. So they have to be taken in a particular order. And everything you take your first semester are prerequisites for you to move on to the next semester and so forth. So if you think you're maybe in a position, you took a look at the lower division classes and you're like, I think I may be ready for the upper division this fall, please reach out to us sooner rather than later. We want to make sure you meet our deadlines for the application for this coming fall. So I've listed there at the bottom, the deadlines. Our priority deadline for this coming fall 2023 upper division start is February 1st, and the final deadline is going to be May 15th. So for the lower division, which is those first 60 credit hours you're completing, the general application to U of L, we have starts all throughout the year for that. So summer, fall, spring, winter, those courses are offered all throughout the year. It's the upper division specifically where we only have the fall starts. But like I said, we go over this very extensively during your initial appointment. But this information is on our website if you would like to take a peek and dive a little deeper into this information. So if I don't believe I have any, but if I have any incoming freshmen, so if you're a current high school student, we do have our Bachelor of Social Work Living Learning Community. So this is a opportunity specifically for my on-campus first-time freshman students. So you're a current high school student and you're going to join us this upcoming fall. But it's a wonderful opportunity for students in our BSW program to live in the same area, learn in the same area. We host unique programming throughout the school year, volunteer experiences, opportunity for you to network with alum, faculty, and it's just a nice way for you to connect into students that are very like-minded and just get acclimated with the college life. So if you have any questions, let myself or Sarah know, but we are accepting applications currently for this upcoming fall. So one specific track for our Bachelor of Social Work program that we do offer is alcohol and drug counseling. So you will see a lot more of these areas of specialization and these concentrations at the master's level, but we do have one at the BSW level. So with that said, if this is an area that interests you, this is a career field that you see yourself going into, this could be a unique opportunity for you to apply to. With that said as well, you need to be admitted to the upper division to be eligible for this track. So you would be applying for this track simultaneously as the upper division application. So this would start pretty much your first semester junior year. But for the application process, you would just be submitting a 2-page essay discussing interest, experience in the field if applicable, and then potential contributions and plans after you graduate. If you are admitted to the track, you will be taking 4 specific electives in the upper division, and your practicum will be held in a substance abuse setting. So you will get that hands-on experience within this field prior to graduation. Now, one more unique opportunity that we do offer for students, I will preface this first. for this program, you have to be living in the state of Kentucky, or if you're planning on moving here sometime soon. This is for just my Kentucky folks, but you can be both on campus or online, can be eligible for this. So this is our Public Child Welfare Certification Program. This is a partnership that we have with the state of Kentucky, specifically for the Health and Family Services. It is an application that you would also be completing while you're filling out your upper division application. So this program would take place your junior and senior year. If you are admitted to this program, the state of Kentucky will pay for your last 4 semesters, so your junior and senior year upper division tuition. You are given a stipend. I actually had an email come through about 10 minutes ago that I peeked at. It sounds like also something they're doing new now in the state. Your practicum, your senior year will be held with the state of Kentucky. It sounds like they are looking at also paying students for that, which would be wonderful. And then you would be obligated to work for the state of Kentucky for 2 years after you graduate. So I think of they pay for 2 years. Sounds like they're going to also be paying you a little more too. Pay for 2 years of tuition, pay for practicum. They're giving you a stipend, and then you work for the state for 2 years. Now, another huge piece that was breaking news to us a few days ago, for the position that you would be in would be within Child Protective Services, under that social services umbrella. They are now starting salary of $50,000. So that has, when I started this position back, I think 4 years ago, they were getting paid like low 30s. So this has been huge, huge news. We just found this out a few days ago, which is wonderful. So if it continues to increase, you would just get whatever that starting salary is. But we found out a few days ago, 50,000 coming out, which is great. So we do an entire separate information session just on this program. Emily Watts is the coordinator for this. She's actually a PCWCP alum as well. So she's a wealth of knowledge in this field. If you have any questions about this, please let me know, and I can definitely connect you with Emily. But a lot more to come about this as well. Once you're in our program, you'd be invited to all of the upcoming information sessions. Okay, so I kind of highlighted a little bit earlier about the MSSW program. So the expectations we tell every student coming into our program is that you need to go on to earn that master's degree. Not that you would not have a successful or rewarding career with just your bachelor's degree, but that master's is really what most social work positions are looking for. And it just opens up many more doors and opportunity, and it's a guaranteed higher salary. With that said, depending on, if you're wanting to go on more like counseling route or wanting to go earn maybe your LCSW, that licensed clinical social worker, or other licensures, most times you're going to also have to have earned your master's degree. But we have a unique opportunity for our students. If you're earning your BSW, you maintain a strong GPA, about a 3.0, 3.25 in your social work classes, you would be eligible for the 1-year master's program, which is also offered both online as well as on campus. So it can be anywhere between 2 and 5 semesters completed, but it's a 30-hour program versus our traditional 60, which is wonderful news. A lot more to also come about this once you're in the program. We have an entire separate team of staff that oversee our advising and admissions side for the master's team. So they will traditionally host kind of a customized information session for our students. But if you have questions about this program, please let me know, and I can also connect you with their team. But something to think about, and also just a little bit more motivation to keep that GPA up. So next steps. I know that was a lot of information, so I appreciate everyone sticking with me. But what can you do now? So if you are currently enrolled in courses at another institution or here at U of L, just keep maintaining and establishing those good relationships with your professors and those faculty and instructors. Also, you continue to see that 2.5 GPA. So keep your GPA above that 2.5. We want to see that GPA, whether you were a major change, a current student at U of L, different major, if you're a transfer student, a high school student, we want to see that 2.5 across the board. Also, applying to the University of Louisville through the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. That will be your first application step. From there, we'll determine when you will be applying for the upper division. And then once you are admitted to U of L, my name and contact info is typically on your list of next steps. So scheduling a one-on-one onboarding advising appointment with me will be how you connect with our unit. We'll take a look at transfer credits if applicable, look at our program requirements, discuss some of these unique opportunities we've highlighted here today, and then most importantly, figure out when you're applying for the upper division, and then ultimately get an anticipated graduation date for you. So with that said, here's all of my contact information. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on our team. We're all happy to help. But my email address as well as phone number is listed there. And yes, thank you, Sarah, for posting that. And the other thing I did mention was our website. So I'm going to post the link in that as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.